Hey there, everyone. We are officially here for Travel the World as a speaker. Oh, I couldn't come on yesterday because I had like massive tech issues, and I still have no clue what the issue was, but it was doing some weird things, so we had to shut down the computer a few times. But we're here today, and today we're going to talk about negotiating a safe speaking gig. Now, I know that none of us ever thought that we would have to like think about all of these things when it comes to speaking. And I mean, whether or not I need to worry about people wearing masks, not wearing masks, sharing microphones, cleaning the podium. We're going to talk about all of that because you'll be surprised what people are doing now when it comes to speaking. Now, and especially when it comes to your safety. The thing is, we want our audience to be safe, we want us to be safe, and we want everybody to be able to make it back home all in one piece. And here's the thing, it really doesn't matter what you believe or what you don't believe. The fact is, you're going to be in a room with varying opinions, so you should be ready. And if this is a concern for you, this is why we're going to talk about it tonight. So, Travel the World as a Speaker, I am your host, Phylecia Jones, and this show is brought to you by iFind You Close, where we actually go out and find speaking gigs for you and deliver them to you every Monday. I have to give a shout out to all of our subscribers because January was a good month, and thank you for supporting this small business owner because last year y'all were scaring me a little bit. And of course, because we are dealing with, our business is so dependent on what's happening in the world, it was a very interesting year last year, but we're so thankful for everybody that's been signing up. For those of you who have been going over to the website, you've been signing up and signing up for the assessment. They have been a lot of fun. I really do like looking at everybody's websites. So go ahead, check us out at ifindyouclose.com. And you know what? We're just gonna, is it / doc, ifindyouclose.com. That's it. And it's not clothing. It's COLSE. And you know what? You can stop by and get your free assessment as well. But it's been a lot of fun doing that, and it's just been so much fun kind of seeing what you all have out there in the world. So for right now, so for my folks here on Instagram, so we go live here on YouTube and on Instagram. Our YouTube is our main home. So if you ever want to see any of the cool graphics that we have, you're going to pop on over here to the YouTube channel. So all you got to do is check the link in the bio and it'll lead you over to us. And before we even get started, so the purpose of the show is to talk about how to leverage speaking so that you can travel the world. And I absolutely love talking about this. And so I try to give you a little bit of a travel story before we jump into the content when it comes to getting on stage, being a better speaker, and making sure you can get these deals so that you can travel the world. So I'm going to fix my camera here on Instagram. I actually probably just made it worse. Sorry, over here. I'm breaking stuff on Instagram. You know what? This is why you shouldn't touch things while you are speaking. So let me go ahead and fix this over here on Instagram. Sorry, you're going to see all of me all up in the camera. So that's a little bit better. I know. I'm like in flannel. My fashion sense. I was talking to another speaker today. My fashion sense has probably gone down the toilet since being at home. You know when things are bad when you are basically in flannel. So I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm in flannel. And this was better. I gotta tell you, this was a lot better than what it was. It was a lot better than what it was. But the girls in flannel these days. All right. So the one thing I want to talk about, when it comes to travel, I gotta tell you the story before we get all into the content right now. And we got to talk about my nemesis, and that is finding the perfect travel bag. I know, this is going to look as if I'm doing a review on this bag, but we all know that being a traveler, this is like the one thing you will spend tons of money on trying to find that perfect bag. Now, I got to tell you, when I travel, especially when I'm traveling for speaking, I am a carry-on girl. Back in the olden days when we could get on airplanes without worrying about a disease, I was a carry-on girl, and I never, only rarely did I ever put bags under the plane. But this is what I would take on a typical, vacations are a little different. I have a slightly bigger bag for that. But when I go out and travel for speaking, I would take this little bag here. And I have another bag behind me. That was my camera bag, and it was big enough for my laptop and my clothes. And yeah, and you probably, I remember I used to travel with people and they were like, this is all you have? Like, yeah, what else do I need? So I love this bag because one, it has these little backpack things, these little straps, and you can hide them. And I'm a strap girl. So it has another strap. So it has a regular strap right here. I love that. And it has this. Now, the one thing I can't do, and the reason why I always try to get bags like this, I have to make them really light because I actually start bruising. I know it's the weirdest thing. I actually start bruising. I'm actually checking my sound as I'm doing this. I think we're good. I actually bruise here on my shoulders. And if I'm not taking this bag, it has to be really, really light. And I used to travel with with my Microsoft Surface, because with a big laptop, it just becomes way too heavy. And of course, got how I wipe things down with. And one of the things I learned from a friend, she's a big time traveler, I started putting all of these, it's actually upstairs, but like the cleaning wipes, the antibacterial things, they were in like every bag. Now, when my bag gets too heavy, I actually have a rolling thing if I can't handle it on my shoulder. But any traveler knows that this is always the thing you're looking for, that bag, the ultimate bag. And I love this one because it was great for when I was traveling and my laptop and everything. And I have to say that these little things right here, the carabiners, miracle, because I would attach my water bottles. Now, you wouldn't want to get close to me if we're in an airport, because I will sling the water bottles. But I attach water bottles and all kinds of random things to these, even my keys, so that I could always get back to my car. But that was in the olden days of when we were out there in the world, licking and sniffing each other freely. And hopefully we get back to that soon, really soon. But for now, we're in the basement, and I'm here to talk to you about negotiating a safe speaking gig. Now, of course, for all of you on Instagram, if you have any questions, all you got to do is put it in the comment box. And for you here on YouTube, put it in the comment box as well. And I have to remind the folks here on Instagram, I actually did a video earlier today with some behind the scenes of all of the tech gear, of one of the pieces of tech gear that I'm using to bring you this live stream. And, excuse me. And one of the reasons why I had to do that was to fill in the gap, because I couldn't come live to you last night because tech issues. That's when you do this live streaming thing, it happens. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this negotiating a safe speaking gig. Now, we are in the world of COVID pandemic. Some people think it's done. Some people think we're just getting started. But the reality is this is something that's going on all over the world. And we as speakers, I know some of us are so excited about getting back out there and speaking, but this is something that you really have to pay attention to. For some, you may not worry about this. I'm not talking to you right now. But for those of you who are lightweight germaphobes, big time germaphobes, not really wanting people to breathe on you, talk to you, like spittle on you, I got to tell you, you got to start thinking about these things for your next speaking gig. Now, I had a live speaking gig a few months ago, and I have to tell you, it was a very odd experience. It is a very odd experience. And some of the things I never even thought about when it came to, wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, are you sharing microphones with people? These were all just things that, if we were in the olden days and being able to go freely, never would have thought about this stuff. But after that experience, it made me really think about it, and talking to other speakers and seeing what they are doing when it comes to negotiating this safety. Now, if you feel silly talking about this stuff, remember, you are the product. And if you are sick and if you are not around, you're going to have a hard time making money. So you have to really do take care of yourself. And this is one of the things that we're going to try to do here on iFind You Clothes and on our Instagram feed and everything here. I actually probably should put in more content. How to stay healthy while I'm hacking up everything. how to stay healthy while you are out on the road speaking. Getting sick before a gig, getting sick after a gig is not fun. And because of the world of COVID that we're dealing with right now, these are all things that I think you really should, pay attention to. So here's a couple of things that I want you to think about. When you are asked to do a gig, never be afraid to start asking questions before you say yes. I'm going to switch here. Before you say yes, ask questions. There's no such thing as silly questions. You need to start asking questions, endless amounts of questions. And if they get annoyed, that's probably not the right speaking gig for you. But I want you to be very clear. You can take care of yourself here. So if it comes around to being safe, and we're going to talk about just, sickness and dealing with COVID and, of course, any other safety measures. So when it comes to being safe, just start asking, am I going to be sharing a microphone with people? Is it going to be a handheld microphone? Is it going to be a lavalier? Because if it's a lavalier, guess what? You'd be surprised how many speakers I know, they travel with their own microphones. They travel with their own lavaliers, especially if you don't want to share with anybody. So you can start asking these questions. You can, when it comes to mask, especially if you're going to be speaking this year, am I expected to wear a mask? Is the audience expected to wear a mask? Should I wear a mask when I'm speaking? Do I take the mask off when I'm speaking? Will I need to, shake hands? Am I expected to shake hands with people? Am I expected to hug? I know it sounds like a weird one, but some groups are very huggy. You should ask all of these questions. Typically, 2 years ago, wow, 2 years ago, crazy. Or in the beginning part of last year, when we were out speaking, we would go to the back of a room and we'd shake hands, we'll meet people. So you got to start asking all of these questions because, you may not feel comfortable shaking hands with people. Even before COVID, a lot of folks just didn't shake hands because you meet so many people and you start touching your face and you start getting pimples and yeah. So you got to start asking these questions of your expectations, their expectations of you at the event. Because some people are like, no, we want to operate at full throttle normal, shaking hands, hugging, licking people, kissing babies, all of those things. And if you're uncomfortable with that, you're going to have to make some decisions around it. So I want you to start asking everything, am I expected to shake hands? Am I expected to be there for the entire event? I haven't told you about my experience before, but it's actually here on YouTube if you actually want to watch it. But after that gig, I'm one of those, I would always go and stay the whole day because of the business that I'm in of, making friends with event coordinators. So I would stay, hang out, meet as many people as possible because that's how I converted business. But when I had that gig, it was just like, what, I'm going to go like 30 minutes before I go on stage and leave 30 minutes afterwards. I've never done that before in my life. And this is something you're going to have to talk about. You're going to have to talk about because if they are expecting you to be there the entire day and you're somewhat comfortable going to speak, but you are not comfortable hanging out the whole day, you're going to have to be very clear with the organizer of, hey, I'm only going to hang out. The same thing. A lot of events are doing lunch. They're doing breakfast, buffet style. So you're going to have to start asking about all these things. Are you expected to sit down and eat with people? And I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds really weird. But for those of us who are a little on the cautious side when it comes to germs, for those who are very concerned about COVID-19 and spreading and coronavirus, flu, all of those other things, we are in that day and age that we got to think about it. And I just read an article, the headline from Forbes is like, COVID-19 has turned us all into germaphobes. And it's like, yeah, some of us were already there. Now we're just like pushed over, like completely over the cliff of of dealing with germs. So you got to start asking the question. So this is what I want you to do coming up for your next gigs and what's happening. If you're out there trying to get on stage, and especially if you're traveling. Now, I haven't even addressed that yet, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But especially If you're out there and you're booking gigs right now for for later this year or next year, you got to start asking about all of these things, and don't let them. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I will say. Don't let them get away with just saying we're gonna follow the guidelines of the city. Ain't good enough. Ain't good enough. That is not a good enough answer. And if they give you that answer, you need to push back on them saying exactly what does that mean? Because what I've noticed is that a lot of these events will just follow the guidelines of the city. That means they're not doing anything if you are concerned. So don't let them get away with doing that to you, okay? So make sure you ask questions before you say yes, officially yes to that gig. Ask these questions about, microphones, podiums, shaking hands, arriving early, staying all day, eating, not eating. Can you come 30 minutes before? Can you leave? Are are we passing out business cards? Should I wear a mask? Not wear a mask? Should I have a vaccine? Will there be other people in the room without a vaccine? Do I need to be concerned about them? These are all the things that you should ask, and they shouldn't have an issue answering these questions for you. Now, if you are starting to book the travel gigs and you're not local, you got to start putting all these safety concerns in play as well. Now, because and this is going to be so hard because I know a lot of us, we haven't been traveling a lot for speaking gigs because there haven't been that many, to be straight up honest, or any at all. But you're going to have to figure out what the travel rules are for entering, especially if you're leaving the country, entering into states. Some states here in the United States have rules about entering there, about quarantining. So you're going to have to start talking this all out with with the person that's booking you, because if you get to a place and all of a sudden they change the rules where you got to quarantine for 5 or 10 days and most of us, we show up the day before we speak and then hang out later, that's going to be problematic. So you're going to have to figure out what is plan B, plan A, B, C, and D, just in case. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, oh, but Phylecia, this coronavirus thing is going to be over by the end of this year. Yeah, we were all saying that last year too. See how that's working out, right? I swore that this was going to be over by September and I would be on a plane to London and speaking, but here we are. So it never hurts to figure out what is plan A, plan B, and plan C. Of course, you got questions, put them in the comment box. Now, outside of the safety when it comes to, they call it communicable diseases. Ew. Outside of those different things, there are other safety measures that you should really think about when you're speaking, especially when you are traveling to speak. When you arrive, are you negotiating with somebody from the event to come and pick you up from the airport? And make sure you understand who is coming to pick you up from the airport. We are not in these days where somebody. No, not good enough. And I'll actually tell you about my story. That happened to me in London. My very first time going there, I was still working for the Navy, and they said, somebody will come pick you up from the train station. Now, me being highly alert these days, that, is no, not good enough. Back in those days, it's okay, I'll just trust the process. And luckily, nobody got hurt. But if you are negotiating pick up and drop off at the airport, you need to make sure you understand who is coming to get you and tell them who you're comfortable with not coming to get you. I mean, come on, you got to protect yourself. Arriving in the daytime versus nighttime. Where are you staying? Are you booking your own hotel? Are you booking your hotel? Or are they booking your own hotel? Now, the thing, when they're booking they're booking the hotel for you, sometimes they can get really cheap and throw you into a crappy place. I usually put in my contracts, not usually, I say that I will book my own and then they will reimburse me. So, because this is how I figure I need to be safe, arriving in the daytime, in the morning, a day before, just so I know what's going on. Making sure I have contacts. And that's the other thing. Make sure you have contacts for all the people that you need to interact with. And whatever else makes you comfortable. Now, I'm not talking about being a diva. I'm talking about what makes you comfortable so that you can show up and give your best presentation. This is all part of the safety talk that you should have, and I know a lot of us over the last few years, we have, it's really easy to just get excited about getting a gig and not worrying about all this other stuff. Like, oh gosh, these people are trustworthy. Yes, the majority of people are trustworthy, but one thing I've learned from 2020 is don't make assumptions and don't take everything for granted. So having these discussions about whatever your version of safety is, not being a diva, but whatever your version of being a safety is, be sure to have that conversation. It is nothing wrong having that conversation with these people. And before you say yes, start asking. Start asking. There is nothing wrong with asking. Just today, I was asked to come and speak at a live event. And you know what? Right now, because of everything that's going on, I actually have to go discuss this with my family, which is just my husband. And I know it may sound like, oh my gosh, you got to get permission. No, it's not permission, but because of everything that's going on, just because I'm okay with leaving the house and probably speaking to a large crowd, your spouse or whoever your partner is or your family may not be okay. So you're going to have to discuss all these things, because you'd be surprised, your family might make you quarantine after coming back home from an event. And so you gotta have these discussions. One, don't be afraid to have them, because I know a lot of us, sometimes we get into this thing of like, oh, I'm just too scared to bring it up. Nah, leave that back in 2020. In 2021, you need to be able to speak up for yourself. What is comfortable for you, what is safe for you, what your boundaries are, and what you're willing to work outside of and within those boundaries. So before you say yes, if health, germs, things that spray in the air are a concern for you, you need to ask about them before you sign on that dotted line and before you make the extra effort to leave your home, okay? You need to talk about it, and you can negotiate. Now, one of the things I will say about negotiating, you got to be ready, because they may come back and say, you know what, we're not cool with any of this. You got to be okay with saying no. That's one thing you're going to have to be okay with. Be okay with the response, and be okay with walking away if they are not willing to meet you. I won't say demands, but meet you in a place where everybody is comfortable. So that's what I will say about that. And of course, if you got questions around safety, any other things around safety, what you need to ask, what you need to talk about, all you got to do is put your comments in the comment box. I will make sure to respond back to you. But my biggest thing for us going forward as speakers, as those of us who are leveraging speaking to grow our business, to travel, I want you to be as safe as possible. I don't care if it's a disease. I don't care if it's just making sure your body arrives back home in the way you arrive at your location. I want you to take all of these things into account. And as a woman who travels solo and who travels solo to a lot of these events, I just want you to be a little bit more aware that you can negotiate safety measures into your contract. Email, whatever it is, you can negotiate safety measures so that you are comfortable, so that you can show up and deliver your A game. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Tomorrow, we're definitely going to be talking about something with marketing. I don't really know what the topic is. And hopefully, since I did a video for my Instagram, folks, I will sit down and do a video. It'll be highly edited on the tools and tech that I use to do a virtual presentation, because virtual is where it is for right now. It's safe. This is safe. I don't have to quarantine from anybody when I'm down here in the basement. All right. With that, I need to go. So for my Instagram folks, take care of yourself. I will see you tomorrow. And for everybody here on YouTube, I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go check us out at iFindYouClothes.com if you are looking for more speaking engagements. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Peace. Oh, I didn't shut the thing down. Sorry.